Hello everyone. Out of 100 Urantia Core Truths lectures, today we are having lecture 8 about the sensual and divine universe. We are about to embark on one of the most breathtaking journeys the human mind can contemplate, a journey not through time but through eternity, not across continents but across the architecture of infinity itself. We are here for lecture 8 of our 100 part series on the Urantia Book. Tonight's subject is nothing less than the heart of all creations, the sensual and divine universe, Habona, and the sacred paradise satellites that surround the eternal isle. Most cosmologists speak of heaven in vague, metaphorical terms. The Urantia Book does something unprecedented. It draws us a map, it gives us coordinates. It describes structure, hierarchy, function, and beauty in a universe that stands at the center of all that is, was, and ever shall be. What you are about to hear is not a parable. It is the Revelation tells us an account of real places, real beings, and real purposes. Purposes that include you, the ascending mortal, who is destined one day to walk these very worlds. Prepare your mind, open your imagination. Let's begin. The Urantia Book opens its description of the sacred inner universe with a breathtaking cosmological statement. Between the central isle of paradise, the literal material nucleus of all creation, and the innermost of the 7 Habona circuits, 3 distinct rings of special worlds orbit in absolute grandeur. These are not symbolic heavens, they are real spheres, 21 worlds in total, each of an order so magnificent, so unrevealed, that the text tells us even their physical construction is beyond what has been disclosed to us. The innermost ring belongs to the Universal Father, 7 sacred spheres, pulsing with mystery and divine intimacy. The middle ring belongs to the Eternal Son, 7 luminous worlds of pure spirit luminosity, and the outermost ring belongs to the Infinite Spirit, 7 executive headquarters worlds governed by the 7 Master Spirit. 3 persons, 3 circuits, 21 worlds, each group eternalized differently, each group serving purposes so profound that most of them remain sealed in divine confidence, even from the highest created beings. The Urantia Book tells us these worlds are eternal. No record exists of their origin, like paradise itself. They simply are. Listen to the language. Unexcelled grandeur and unimagined glory. When the Revelator reached for words to describe these words, they acknowledge that human language strains under the weight of what must be conveyed. They are not telling us these words are merely nice or impressive or beautiful in the way we understand beauty. They are telling us that the very materials from which they are made are of an order, a category of existence that has never been revealed to us. We simply do not have the sensory apparatus, the conceptual framework, or the spiritual development to grasp what they actually are. And yet, here is the staggering declarations. They have always been, no origins, no record of their creation. Like paradise itself, they appear in the eternal record simply as fact. How do you even begin to observe that? These 21 worlds have existed since before time began. They will exist after time has completed its purpose. They are not products of universe evolution. they are expression of eternal being. This is not mythology. This is revelation, and it invites us into humility so profound that our categories of old and ancient dissolve completely. Here are the 7 words that constitute the innermost circuit, the Father's sacred circuit, and each one carries a name that resonates with meaning. Divinington, the bosom of the Father, the very home of the thought adjuster, those divine fragments of God Himself that live inside you right now. Every thought adjuster, before descending into the mind of a mortal, comes from Divinington, and they return there. Sonarington is the bosom of the Son, the paradise home of divine sons, where the mystery of incarnation, God becoming man, is safeguarded in eternal confidence. Spiritington, the bosom of the Spirit, where the profound mystery of reflectivity dwells. Reflectivity is how the universe knows itself, how events on distant worlds can be perceived instantly at superuniverse headquarters. Even the angels do not fully understand it. Bissegerington holds the secret of trinitization, the act by which authority to represent the Trinity is conferred. Solitarington is home of the solitary messengers, beings of extraordinary speed and range who traverse the universe on divine errands. Seraphington is the eternal home of all angelic orders. Your guardian angels will one day call this world their paradise residence. And Ascendington, the bosom of the Father, Son, and Spirit, is your word. Your cosmic home address for eternity. We will return to Ascendington with great care. Stop for a moment. Breathe this in. Right now, as you sit here, within your mind there dwells a fragment of the Universal Father Himself, what the Urantia Book calls a thought adjuster. This divine presence came from Divinington. It has traveled from the innermost sacred circuit of paradise into the interior of your consciousness. And the Urantia Book tells us the nature of this, the how of it, the divine technique by which the infinite becomes resident in the finite, is a secret locked in the sacred sectors of Divinington. Even the high beings who reveal these papers to us, beings of vast experience and cosmic wisdom, do not fully know. They acknowledge, insofar as we come in contact with this page of divine activity, we are permitted full knowledge of these transactions, but concerning the intimate details of this great bestower, we are not fully informed. There is a humility in that confession that should move us deeply. The Creator of all has chosen to keep the intimacy of His self-gift to you, to each individual soul, in a primacy so sacred that even angels cannot fully penetrate it. Your relationship with God is, in some profound sense, between you and God alone. Divinington guards that secret, and it does so with eternal devotion. Of all 7 of the Father's sacred words, Ascendington is the one with which you are mostly personally connected. It is described as bosom of the Father, Son, and Spirit, the rendezvous, the receiving sphere, the eternal home of ascending creatures of time and space. In other words, you. When you complete your journey through the mentioned worlds, through your local and super universe, and you at last arrive at the outer circuits of Havana, Ascendington will become your home address. Not temporarily, not as a way station. The revelation says, through all eternity you will regard it, Ascendington, as your home of sentimental memories and reminiscent recollections. Eternity, not a long time. Eternity. Even when you eventually attain paradise status and begin service in the outer universes, even when you join the course of finality and venture into realms not yet created, Ascendington remains your address. This is one of the most personally profound statements in the Urantia revelation. You, an evolutionary motor of time, will have a cosmic home, a specific world that is yours, as sure as this planet has been yours in this life. The universe is not indifferent to you. It has prepared a place for you. It has your name, in a manner of speaking, inscribed on Ascendington. This passage is, I believe, one of the most astonishing in the entire Urantia revelation. Read it carefully. The author of this paper, a being of immense status, a perfecter of wisdom, tells us there is 1/7 of Ascendington that is forbidden to me. That sector is rocked away, not because I'm unworthy in a moral sense, but because its secret belongs exclusively to your type of beings. The mystery of Ascendington is the mystery of soul building. How does an immortal soul, something eternal, grow inside the mind of creature made of dust and neurons and mortality? How does the infinite take root in the finite? How does eternity germinate in time? This is described as one of the most perplexing mysteries of the universes, not just of the earth, not just of our local creation, of the universes. And there is the extraordinary reversal. You, the mortal, the finite, the seemingly insignificant, possesses a knowledge and an experience that high divine beings are denied access to you. You know what it is to have a soul born inside you. You know what it is to be finite, reaching for the infinite. And remarkably, once this secret is revealed to you in Ascendington, you do not share it back with those celestial beings. It remains yours, yours alone. The universe protects your privacy as fiercely as God protected the mystery of your adjuster. Sonarington holds one of the most beautiful and staggering secrets in the grand universe, the mystery of incarnations. When Christians speak of Jesus as God become man, they are touching the edge of something the Urantia Book describes as a universal phenomenon. The revelation tells us that divine sons, paradise sons, creator sons, become incarnate in the worlds of time throughout the universe. It is happening even now in other parts of creation we have never seen. And this mystery, how the divine compresses itself into the finite, how omnipotence chooses to experience helplessness, how eternity enters time through birth, is rocked in Sonarington. Only those who have actually done it, who have actually lived the experience of incarnation, may penetrate those sectors. This means that the creator sons who have bestowed themselves on evolutionary worlds, beings like our own Christ Michael, who became Jesus of Nazareth, carry within their eternal being a knowledge that is theirs alone, an experience of divine vulnerability, of choosing limitation, of growing up, of suffering, that no observer from outside could ever fully comprehend. Sonarington holds that knowledge in eternal safekeeping as the most intimate diary of the universe. And it reminds us, when God reaches toward us, He reaches all the way, not symbolically, not from a distance. He enters, He becomes, He lives it. The second and third circuit of paradise satellites serve profoundly different functions, and their differences reveal something important about the nature of three persons of Trinity. The seven worlds of the eternal Son are places of pure spirit luminosity, no personality. Not one in all the universe, may set root on them. Not even the personalities co-created by the eternal Son himself. These worlds are inhabited by what the Revelation calls otherwise than personal life, an order of existence so different from personality that no person, however exalted, can dwell there. What do these worlds do? They radiate. They emit the very light of spirit, not physical light, but spiritual luminosity that illuminates all of paradise, all of heaven, reaches out of the seven super universes. They are like seven spiritual suns whose light is not warmth but truth. The words of the infinite spirit are quite different. The seven master spirits maintain executive headquarters there. These are the supreme administrators of the grand universe, each one governing one of the seven super universes. And remarkably, these worlds are open. Any being who can arrange transit may visit them. The Revelator says, "To me, these executive worlds are the most interesting and intriguing spots outside of paradise. Not because they are the most sacred, but because they are the most alive with diverse activity, material, intellectual, and spiritual all at once. Even the structure of three circuits reveals the Trinity. Father's words hold personality secrets. Son's words radiate impersonal spirit. Spirit's words administrate the living universe." This passage from the discussion of Master Spirit words contains what may be the most personally challenging truth in the entire 13th paper. Physical gravity is uniform. It does not respond to your mood or your faith. But spiritual presence, the degree to which the reality of God flows into and through your life, is differential. It varies, it responds. And the Urantia Book places the determinant of that variation squarely in your hands, in your choices, in the decisions of your mind, in the determination of your will. The spirit of divinity becomes humbly obedient to the choosing of the creatures of the realms. Read that slowly. The spirit of divinity, the infinite, omnipotent spiritual presence that sustain all creations, becomes humbly obedient to your choosing, not coercive, not forcing, waiting, increasing when you turn toward it, withdrawing not in punishment, but in respect for your freedom when you choose to turn away. This is not a system designed to manipulate you into compliance. It is a universe built on the principle of genuine free will. God will not overwhelm your choosing. He will honor it, even when it breaks his heart. The Master Spirit words coordinate this differential across all seven super universes. The administration of spiritual presence, responsive, patient, humble, is one of the most profound and intimate expression of how the universe works. We now move from the paradise satellites into the great central universe itself, Habona. 1 billion words. Say that number again. 1 billion words. Not stars, not system, words. Each one a sphere of unimagined beauty and superb grandeur. Each one unique, no two alike in architecture, in life, in atmosphere, in spiritual design. Each one is a veritable university of surprises. Habona is not an evolutionary creation. It did not grow. It did not develop through ages of cosmic trial and refinement. It simply is, perfect, complete, eternal. The Revelation describes it as the eternal core of perfection about which soars that endless procession of universes, which constitutes the tremendous evolutionary experiment. We are the experiment. Habona is the standard. And that standard is breathtaking. No government, because government is needed only where imperfection exists. The billion words of Habona run through what the text calls inherent natural regulations. No courts, no legislatures, no enforcement needed. Being of such perfection simply know how to live rightly, and ascending mortals who arrive there have already been so thoroughly vetted by the supreme tribunals of super universes that no mistake have ever been recorded. In all the eternal history of Habona, no ascendant soul has ever been prematurely admitted. The section process across time and space is so wise, so thorough, that it has never erred once. That is central universe, flawless, eternal, and waiting for you. No mistakes have ever been made. Can you pause on that? In all of eternity, in all the billion worlds of Habona, across all the ascending pilgrims who have made the journey from the humblest worlds of time, not one error in admissions, not one soul granted in entry before they were ready. The Urantia Book is not describing a bureaucratic security system. It is describing a universe so finely calibrated to the growth of the souls, so responsive to actual spiritual reality rather than appearances, that its accuracy has never failed in eternity. This should do something to our anxiety about our own journey. We live in a world where judgment is often premature, where people are evaluated by things that don't matter, where mistakes are made constantly by those in authority. The universe is different. The process of ascension is superintended by beings of such wisdom, such long experience, such intimate knowledge of spiritual reality that the process does not err. You will not be rushed. You will not be held back. You will be perfectly known, more perfectly than you know yourself, and you will advance exactly as you are genuinely ready. And the destination, Habona, is described as audacious adventure. The creator sons of God dare to create imperfect evolutionary universes, to run the experiment of mortal ascension, because Habona stands as the eternal proof that it can be done, that the finite can become perfect, that the mortal can reach God. We are the adventure, Habona is the proof. Let us orient ourselves spatially in these vast creations. At the center, paradise, absolute, motionless, eternal. The little material nucleus of all reality. Immediately around paradise, the three circuits of sacred spheres, the 21 worlds we have been studying. Beyond them, the 7 circuits of Habona itself, 1 billion worlds arranged in concentric rings. Each circuit has its own local year, determined by how long those worlds take to orbit paradise. The innermost circuit worlds travel at innermost velocity, yet still take almost 1,000 years to complete one orbit, giving us the paradise Habona standard day, which equals just under 1,000 of our years. And encircling everything, like a cosmic fortress, were the dark gravity bodies, 2 massive belts of innermost bodies that neither emit nor absorb light. They rotate in opposite directions, one clockwise, one counterclockwise, and together they balance the gravitational forces of this immense creation so perfectly that the central universe is, in the words of Revelation, a physically balanced and perfectly stabilized creations. These dark gravity bodies also serve another purpose. They hide Habona entirely from the view of the outer universes. Even nearby inhabited universe cannot see these central creations. It is veiled, hidden behind layers of gravity and darkness. Think of that, the most glorious, the most perfect, most ancient creation in all of existence, and it is deliberately invisible to us from out there. Only those who make the journey will ever see it. If you have ever felt restless in this life, curious, hungry for discovery, unsatisfied with what you have seen so far, the Urantia Book has a message for you. Those feelings are not flaws, they are pointers. This is only the beginning of an endless career of adventure. Every impulse of curiosity within you, every moment you looked at the night sky and felt the pull of the unknown, every time you reach the end of the great book and wish the world inside it could continue, every time you learned something that expanded your senses of what is possible, those impulses are not random. They are in the language of the revelations, put there to suggest something about the nature of your destiny. Habona is a universe of 1 billion worlds, each one unique, each one a university of surprises. The revelation says that as you travel from circuit to circuit, from world to world, your astonishment does not diminish. It grows. You do not become jaded. You do not reach the point where you have seen it all and are bored. Not until you complete the very last of the Habona circuits, all billion worlds, does the lure of adventure finally give way to something even greater, the forward impulse of eternity itself, the pull not of the next exciting world, but of God Himself. Your restlessness is not a problem to be solved. It is a compass pointing toward an infinite destination. You were made for this. The journey through Habona is not random explorations. It's a structured, progressive ascent through 7 concentric circuits, each one bring the pilgrim closer to inner luminosity of paradise and the presence of God Himself. You arrive on the 7th outermost circuit, received as pilgrims of time, beings from the evolutionary worlds of space who have somehow made it all this way. On the 6th circuit, you achieve something remarkable, comprehension of the super-universe master spirit that corresponds to your own origin, a spiritual self-recognition at a cosmic level. On the 5th circuit, you attain a realization of supremacy, the supreme being, the emerging experiential God, whose growth is intimately connected to the growth of all universe creatures. On the 1st circuit, attainment of the infinite spirit, direct personal contact with the third person of the Trinity. On the 3rd circuit, the eternal Son. The great spirit gravity of universes draw you into recognition of the second source and center. On the 2nd circuit, the universal Father, you find God. The journey of all journeys reaches its destinations. And from the first innermost circuit, you pass through to paradise itself to be admitted to the course of the finality. The body of perfected ascendant beings whose ultimate destiny remains one of the great unrevealed mysteries of eternity. Circuit by circuit, word by word, eternity has a curriculum, and you are enrolled. Paper 14 contains one of the most tender and theologically profound passages in the entire Urantia Revelations. The section describing what Habona means to each of the 7 orders of universe intelligences, beginning with the Universal Father Himself. Listen carefully. He is mortal grandchildren of space, achieving their Creator Father's eternal home. Grandchildren. The text uses a family metaphor deliberately and with great intentions. God is not the distant administrator of an impersonal universe. He is the Father who looks out and watches, with never-ending satisfactions, the long journey of his grandchildren, the motors of time, finding their way home. And this brings him satisfactions. The revelation uses the word satiety, complete fulfillment. The perfect creator, surrounded by infinite perfection in Habona, finds supreme pleasure in the adorations of perfect creatures. But here is the staggering counterpart. He also experiences what the text calls the time-space delay of the eternal urge of infinite expansions. God himself experiences something like the ache of a parent watching a children grow toward maturity, a delay between the urge and the fulfillment. Habona compensates for that delay. It is the proof, already existing in eternity, that the long evolutionary journey works, that imperfect creatures from imperfect worlds do reach perfections, that the infinite urge of Father to share himself with the creation is not a hope. It is already a realized fact in Habona. You are the story still being written. Habona is the ending that has already been told. One of the most philosophically profound relationships in the Urantia cosmology is the connection between Habona and the Supreme Being. The Supreme Being, God the Supreme, is the experiential God who is in process of becoming through the culminative experience of all evolving creatures in all evolving universes. When you make a God-choosing decision, when you grow spiritually, when any of the billions of ascending mortals across the grand universe develops in wisdom and love, God the Supreme grows. He is not yet fully actualized. He is becoming. But Habona already reveals what the Supreme will be. The text says Habona is the eternal and perfect proof of the spiritual reality of the Supreme Being. It is the portrait of destination, already complete, while the journeyers are still on the road. And more, Habona exhibits finality of spirit values existing as living will creatures of supreme and perfect self-control. Not beings who are controlled by an external force, but beings who have achieved such perfect harmony with divine reality that their will and God's will are one, not because they have been overridden, but because they have genuinely chosen alignment through long experience. That is your destiny, not absorption into God, not erasure of your personality, but the perfection of your own choosing, until your choices become, through love and wisdom, indistinguishable from the will of the Father. Habona shows it can be done. The Supreme is the promise that it will be done. Paradise is the home, and Habona the workshop and playground of the finaliters. And every God-knowing mortal craves to be a finaliter. The course of finaliter, this is the ultimate destination described in these papers for ascending mortals, for you. After achieving paradise, after recognizing the Universal Father, you are admitted to a body of perfected ascendant beings whose destiny is one of the greater mysteries that even the revelator acknowledges they cannot fully disclose. But what little they do tell us is extraordinary. Habona, the central universe, is described as both the destination and the starting point. It is where your ascent culminates, and it is from where your next eternal career begins. The starting place of eternal career of the finaliters as they shall sometimes be started out on the undisclosed and ununiversal adventure in the experience of exploring the infinity of the Universal Father. Exploring the infinity of the Universal Father, not as tourists, not as observers, and finalizers, as beings who have earned, through the long scroll of evolutionary ascension, the right to participate in whatever the next great chapter of eternity holds. The text says, undisclosed. The revelators themselves do not know what comes next for the finalizers. The adventure is genuinely open, genuinely ahead, genuinely unknown, even to beings of vast cosmic experience. This is not a destination that ends. It is a destination that begins, and it begins with you choosing, right now, in this life, to know God. As we gather the thread of these lectures, four great themes emerge from Paradise 13 and 14 that I believe have the power to transform how we understand our place in this universe. First, sacredness in this universe is not about power or exclusion. It is about love. When God keeps certain things hidden, it is because those things are too intimate, too personal, too sacred to spread into general knowledge. He protects your privacy. He protects the privacy of his relationship with each creature. The sealed sectors of these words are love wearing the garment of discretions. Second, you, the mortal, possesses something that high celestial beings do not. The experience of soul building from the inside. What it is to struggle, to doubt, to choose, to grow, these are not deficiencies. They are the very content of the secret that 1/7 of Ascendington guards for you alone. Third, Habana is not a promise about the future. It is a proof already existing in eternity. The evolutionary experiment of universes is not a gamble. It is a plan with a completed prototype. You can trust the journey because destination already exists. And first, your curiosity, your restlessness, your hunger for more, these are not accidental or problematic. They are precisely calibrated pointers toward an eternal adventure that begins at paradise and extends into infinities we cannot yet imagine. Papers 13 and 14 are not abstract cosmology. They are a personal letter to every ascending mortals, a letter that says you are known, you are loved, and the universe has prepared something for you that will astonish you forever. We close tonight with a single thought, and I want you to carry it with you when you leave this room. The universe has prepared a place for you, not for humanity in general, not for good people in the abstract. For you, a specific word, Ascendington, that carries your identity as its tenant across all of eternity. A journey that was known before your birth, a destination that has been prepared, organized, and superintended by beings of infinite wisdom who have never, not once, made an error in their administrations. You live on a world that is, in cosmic terms, very young and very imperfect. You live in a body that will fail. You live in a civilization that slumbers and falls and rises and stumbles again. You face uncertainty, loss, grief, limitation, and yet the Urantia Book looks at you, at this small, fragile, curious creature of time, and says, the Universal Father views your journey with never-ending satisfactions, that his mortal grandchildren of space are making their way home. Grandchildren, you are not a problem to be managed. You are a beloved child to be brought home. Habana is real. Ascendington is real. The course of finality is real. And the adventure that begins at paradise, that undisclosed, universal explorations of the infinite of God Himself is real. This is lecture 8. May it be for each of you not merely an intellectual survey, but a homecoming in the heart. Thank you.